and it will be streaming live online on YouTube. You are prohibited from recording on your own. Failure to comply could result in a contempt of court charge. Today's bench trial proceeding docket is for the state law violations as well as traffic court and any type of penal code violations. The significance of this is that in the event of a finding of guilty in the court of law, these charges are Class C misdemeanors, and so a guilty or no, or you changing your plea to a guilty or no contest, the punishment is by fine only, which could be a minimum of $1 to a maximum of $200 in most traffic cases, maximum of $500 in penal code violations, and of course, city ordinances could be up to $2,000. Added to each of these fines and the state mandated court costs. In traffic cases, you should understand that the intent is not a necessary element of the offense, and the court cannot consider the intent of the operator of the motor vehicle in any way for any reason. In other words, it doesn't matter if the operator intended to violate the law or not. Beyond a reasonable doubt that a motor vehicle under the control of an operator violated any of the number of laws and ordinances related to the traffic, the finding would have to be guilty. Matters such as a broken or defective speedometer, not familiar with the neighborhood, didn't see the sign, didn't see the officer. While these are reasons, they're not legal defenses. Proceedings in this court began with a written complaint, and you should have been provided a copy of this complaint prior to today. The prosecution will go first to present its case, since it has the burden of proof. You will be able to cross-examine its witnesses, but remember, you can only ask questions of the witness, not make a statement. After the prosecution has rested, you will present your case. You may call your witnesses on your behalf. The witnesses can only testify about matters of which they have personal knowledge. You also have the right to take the stand and tell your statement. You will be able to cross-examine you and your witnesses. Should you decide not to take the stand, the fact that you did not testify cannot be used against you. Once you have concluded all testimony and have rested, closing arguments will begin. Closing arguments must be a statement based on the facts presented. Facts or evidence shall be given. Closing arguments. I'm sorry, I'm hearing a lot of background noise. I'm not sure who needs to be muted for this. If you'll go ahead and mute yourself for now, and then as we call you, if you'll unmute yourselves. After the verdict, if you are found not guilty, you will be free to go and you will owe nothing. If you are found guilty, you will be assessed the fine and court costs. In addition, if you are found guilty, you have the option to appeal to the county court. This process must take place within 10 days of the trial. An appeal bond of twice the amount of the fine and court costs must be posted. It is suggested that any appeal be by a licensed attorney. Before we begin calling the docket, is there anyone that wishes to change their plea to guilty or no contest? Okay, because we are doing this a little different, we may be seeing some of you in here for a while, but we're going to do it just like we normally do. We're going to call the case one at a time. At this time, I'm going to recuse myself on the first case and allow Judge Jones to take over at this time.
All right, at this time, we'll be calling the case for trial. I call citation number E0018941 in the matter of the state of Texas versus Marcela Garcia Garcia.
The state is present, Your Honor.
And I am not sure if he's the one that needs an interpreter, but Linda Foster, the interpreter, is present also.
This is the case that needed the interpreter.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Cassandra.
Okay. So she's present in the courtroom. Is that? I'm not seeing her on the screen.
Uh,
El señor
Miss-
Marcelo. Señor Marcelo García, ¿está usted presente?
Ms. Escobedo, can I confirm that we have service on Ms. Garcia Garcia? And you were muted, Ms. Escobedo.
I'm assuming she's not present, or?
Your Honor, she's not present. I just want to confirm with the court clerk that she received notice of this hearing before I make up any further motions.
Okay.
I believe Ms. Escobedo is checking that right now. And you are muted, Ms. Escobedo.
Okay, she is not present, but she was notified and she was notified.
Your Honor, at this point, I make a motion that the court issue a failure to appear for Ms. Garcia Garcia.
Okay.
It appears at this time Judge Jones is going to go ahead and issue a warrant. I'm going to go ahead and excuse the witnesses for this particular case. Marcela Garcia and Ms. Foster, we are excusing you as well. I don't believe we have any other cases that need an interpreter.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye, Cassandra. We'll see you later.
Bye, Linda.
Bye.
Linda.
We're going to go ahead and go on to the next case, the State of Texas versus Irvi Flores, case number E016737.
The state is present and ready, Your Honor.
Irvi Flores, are you here today?
Mr. Flores, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now? Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Is the state ready to continue?
We are, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to continue? Mr. Flores, are you ready to continue? Mr. Flores, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you ready to continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Cheek, if you will read the charge against him, please.
Yes, Your Honor. In the city of Andrews, Municipal Court, Andrews, Texas, in the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, on or about the first day of March 2020, Daryl Cunningham did have reason to believe that Irvi Flores violated the transportation code by speeding, by traveling at a speed that was greater than was reasonable and prudent under circumstances and existing against the peace and dignity of the state.
Mr. Flores, do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, to enter your plea for me, please.
I was not guilty. I was not speeding
Okay,
at that time.
okay, sir, thank you. Opening statements.
I waive opening, Your Honor.
Okay, you may call your first witness.
Call Sergeant Cunningham.
Officer Cunningham, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may continue.
Sir, please state your name.
Daryl Cunningham.
And how are you employed?
I'm a sergeant with the City of Andrews Police Department.
And how long have you been so employed?
I'm in my 13th year.
Are you a certified peace officer in this state?
Yes, ma'am.
And what education or training did you undergo to become certified?
I attended the Odessa College Police Academy, and upon graduation, I took the state certifying exam.
And were you employed in this same capacity on March 1st of 2020, last year?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you on duty that day at approximately 9:23 in the morning?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were you doing?
I was working a traffic enforcement assignment.
And where were you located?
I was parked on the north side of the road in the 1400 block of Southwest Mustang Drive.
You said you were parked.
Yes.
And did a vehicle happen to catch your attention about that time?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
And where was this vehicle in relation to you?
When I originally observed the vehicle, it was behind me to the east. It was traveling westbound. So approaching from the rear of my vehicle towards the front.
And what about it caught your attention?
The vehicle appeared to be traveling at a high rate of speed, higher than what was posted for the limit.
And what is the posted speed limit on that area?
35 miles an hour.
And making that sort of visual observation of speed violations is part of your training and education and experience. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And after making the visual observation of the violation, what did you do to confirm that?
Once the vehicle passed to the front of my location, I activated the front radar unit of my vehicle.
Okay, and what, if anything, did it reveal?
It showed that vehicle was traveling at 56 miles an hour.
What sort of vehicle is this that we're discussing?
It's a white GMC Yukon, an SUV.
So what did you do after confirming this particular violation with your radar unit?
I pulled into the roadway, caught up to the vehicle, turned on my emergency lights, and effected a traffic stop.
And did the driver pull over in a timely and safe and appropriate fashion?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make contact with the driver?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see him in this Zoom gallery today?
It's going to be Mr. Flores. He's my fourth box down, but I don't know where he'd be on y'all's screen.
Okay. Could you maybe describe what color shirt he's wearing?
He's wearing a gray shirt with a beard.
May the court please note that the witness has identified the defendant.
So noted.
Was Mr. Flores cooperative with you?
Yes, ma'am, as far as I can remember.
And did you explain the reason for your stop?
Yes, ma'am.
And what site, do you recall if he offered any discussion or information regarding that particular stop or that particular violation?
I do not recall.
And what citations, if any, did you issue?
He was issued a citation for speeding. He did have a CDL license, so I reduced the alleged violation to 49 and 35.
So you wrote the violation for a lesser included rather than the 56 going to the 49, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Your radar unit that you used, is that something that's attached to your vehicle or is it some sort of a handheld device? What type do you use?
It's mounted to the vehicle.
How often is that calibrated?
I tested at the beginning of my shift, and we also have it certified by an independent third party, I believe twice a year.
Okay. And were there any problems that you recall with your radar unit during your shift that day?
There were no errors.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Flores, at this time, do you have any questions for Officer Cunningham?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
Your Honor, I have no further questions of this witness at this time. I reserve the right to recall, and the state rests.
okay. Mr. Flores, at this time, the state has rested. It is now your opportunity to enter your defense. Understand that you not taking the stand cannot be held against you. Did you have any witnesses you wish to call?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Do you wish to make a statement?
Ma'am, what I could say is that,
Before you do, I do need to swear you in, sir.
okay,
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
You may continue. First of all, state your full name.
Okay, honestly, there was a lot of traffic that morning when we were traveling through there. And all I could say is I was not speeding. And the reason I'm doing this is my third time here through Zoom. Last year, there was, because of the things that are going in the world, COVID, this was placed on, it was just going month after month that postponed, and I lost a lot of time at work like I'm doing now for the third time at Zoom. And the reason want to take this further because of my CDO license. This is the reason I'm doing all this. If it was just a regular license, I would just pay the ticket and move forward. But I am seriously trying to take care of my license.
Okay, sir, is that all?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Chick, do you have any questions of this witness?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay, sir. Do you have any other witnesses you wish to call? Mr. Flores?
No, ma'am.
Witnesses? So at this time,
No, ma'am.
you rest? Do you wish
Yes,
to
ma'am.
closing argument?
No, Your Honor. Rest and close.
Okay. Did you wish to enter any closing argument, sir? Do you have a closing argument, Mr. Flores?
I don't.
Are y'all hearing me okay? Okay.
I can hear. I'm just not exactly sure who you're calling.
Flores, based on the evidence that was presented in the trial, I'm going to find you guilty of the charge of speeding. The fine is being set at $90 plus court costs. The court costs at this time are $219 for a total of $309. Is it something you'll be able to pay today?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, you know what? Can I do a payment plan for this?
If you'll call the office this afternoon, we'll talk about other arrangements. You'll call us back.
Okay.
Just
And the number to that is?
432-524-2791.
Okay.
Now, remember, you do have a right to appeal your case to the county court. This process must take place within the next 10 days of the trial. An appeal bond of twice that amount must be posted by surety bond, and it's suggested that any appeals be made by an attorney. At this time, you're excused from this case and any witnesses to this case. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
going to go ahead and continue. I now call the Texas versus Derek Matthew Griffin, case number E0188, 18615. Derek Griffin.
Yes, Your Honor.
The state is present and ready, Your Honor.
Mr. Griffin, are you ready to continue today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Cheek, would you please read the complaint?
Yes, Your Honor. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, on or about the 25th day of November, 2020, in the city of Andrews, Wayne Waldrop did have reason to believe that Derek Griffin violated the penal code by committing a theft against the peace and dignity of the state.
Mr. Griffin, do you understand this charge against you?
Yes, Your Honor.
At this time, how do you wish to plead?
Not guilty.
Okay. Ms. Cheek, opening statement.
We waive opening, Your Honor.
You may call your first witness.
I'll call Officer Waldrop. I'm sorry, I've forgotten your designation.
Sergeant Waldrop.
Sergeant Waldrop. Not being there, I haven't kept up as well. I call Sergeant Waldrop, Your Honor.
Sergeant Waldrop, would you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Please state your name
Wayne Waldrop.
and how are you employed?
I'm employed with the City of Andrews Police Department.
How long have you been with them?
I'm on my 8th year.
And are you a certified peace officer in this state?
I am.
What education or training did you undergo to become certified?
I went to the Permian Basin Law Enforcement Academy and took the state exam.
And were you employed with the City of Andrews Police Department on November 25th of 20 last year?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have the opportunity to respond to a call at approximately 3:15?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the nature of the information that you were provided?
The nature of the call was possible shoplifting in progress.
And what information were you provided?
As soon as I got there, I was explained through dispatch. They advised that there was a male subject in a black jacket walking around the store, possibly taking items.
And so did you go to the location?
I did.
Where is this location that we're discussing?
It is on South Main Street.
And what store is it?
I believe it was Pilot.
And is that located within the city of Andrews?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you do when you arrived?
I arrived and I saw a male subject matching that description. Whenever I walked in the store, I went to make contact with him. I did. I observed a tag hanging out of his pocket of items in the store.
And what was the tag attached to? What is the item?
The item was a pipe cleaning kit, a small pouch.
And did you discuss this item with the subject?
Did I just? Yes, yes.
And what, did he make any statements to you regarding that?
He told me exactly what it was.
Okay. And who is this person that we're discussing? Who's the subject?
Derek Griffin.
And do you see him on the Zoom gallery today?
I do.
Could you describe him for the court, please?
Male subject with glasses. I believe his tag says Model G stylist.
Will the court please note that the witness has identified the defendant?
So noted.
So after making this observation and discussing the situation, what it was, what did you do next?
Yes, with the items in plain view, I did pat him down. removed it from his pocket and explained to him what he was being charged with, and wrote a citation.
Did he make any statements to you regarding the citation and the theft allegation?
I don't recall.
Did you speak with any other witnesses or any people that were at the store?
I did. I spoke to the clerk, and she told me that he had taken something, but she wasn't sure.
Did Mr. Griffin ultimately admit to you that he had taken that item?
I believe he told me that he had paid for it, that he owned one. I believe he said he owned one prior.
And there's a video of your interactions with Mr. Griffin, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you provided that to me prior to today's court hearing?
That's correct.
Are you capable of operating the equipment which made that recording?
I am.
Has it been altered in any way?
Absolutely not.
And does it fairly depict your conversation with Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I wish to publish the video to the court and Mr. Griffin, the
Okay,
witness.
go ahead and try.
Okay. We are going to attempt to share screen. I believe you need to, oh, no, I can share screen. Okay.
Ms. Chick, at this time, all I'm seeing is a black screen. Would that be correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Officer Waldrop, did you hear in that recording that the defendant said that he had taken it from there then to replace one that he had already had that had been taken from him during a prior arrest?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Griffin, do you have any questions of this officer?
No, Your Honor. Just, I did have it in my pocket, but I was at the lottery machine. I was gonna buy a lottery ticket.
Okay, sir, at
And
this
I
time,
have-
you can't make a statement. You're just asking questions of the officer.
No, no.
Okay. Ms.
Your Honor, I have no further questions of this witness at this time. I reserve the right to recall and the state rests.
Okay. At this time, Ms. Cheek has rested. You are now, it is now your turn, Mr. Griffin, to present your case.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may take the witness stand. You may call witnesses on your own behalf. At this time, are you wanting to do that? Are you wanting to make a statement, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you raise your right hand so that you can be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, you may begin.
I was still at the store when he patted me down, and I did have that in my pocket. I had it in my pocket because I was at the lottery machine and I tried to buy some autos. Whether or not I won on the lottery ticket was whether or not I was going to buy the item. And I was still in the store and I never left the store with the item. Like by my understanding, it's not theft unless you leave the store. And I was still in the store. And I planned on buying it if I walked out with it.
Is that all you wish to say, sir?
Yes.
Ms. Cheek, do you have any questions of this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Sir, I just want to clarify, and make sure I understand your statement. You do admit you put that item in your pocket and had not paid for it, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Mr. Griffin, is there anything further you wish to add?
Just that by law, it's not stealing unless you leave the store.
Do you have any witnesses you wish to call on your behalf?
Oh, Your Honor, there's really no one there. There's hardly
Okay.
anybody.
So at this time, do you wish to rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Cheek, rebuttal?
No, Your Honor.
You wish to close?
Your Honor, just brief closing. Your Honor, there is no requirement that a person leave premises with an item. Theft is exercising control over an item without the owner's consent. I think the evidence is clear that Mr. Griffin took an item that did not belong to him and concealed, thereby indicating his intent to not pay. And we would ask that the court support this citation and find him guilty.
I had it sticking halfway out my pocket.
Mr.
I wasn't trying to conceal it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Griffin, your closing arguments?
It was halfway sticking out my pocket. I wasn't. I just didn't have the hands to do the lottery machine. And
I believe your screen froze on me. I was unable to hear what you said. I'm sorry, would you mind repeating that, please?
my hands were full. I had to stick it in my pocket to be able to work the lottery machine. It wasn't even concealed. It was sticking halfway out. Like I did that on purpose.
Ms. Cheek, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Griffin, I'm going to go ahead and find you guilty of the charge of theft.
Well,
You're fined at $50 plus court costs for a total of $216. You do have a right to appeal this to the county court. Should you decide to appeal, this process must take place within the next 10 days of this trial date. The appeal bond must be twice the amount of the posted amount, so twice the amount of that $216. It is suggested that you make any appeal by an attorney. Will
how
you
would
be-
I don't know. I need to go to someone higher. Yeah, I was not still in that.
So if you wish to appeal, just within the next 10 days, we need you to enter that paperwork in the court so that we can
In
process.
that the crooked ass county. Thank you.
Otherwise, would you be able to pay that $216 within the next 10 days?
I'd probably have to make payment or
You need to come see us within the next 10 days in regard to this case, or call us, okay?
yeah.
This case is being closed.
Huh. You're gonna say guilty. Oh,
At this time, this case is being closed and all witnesses for this case are being excused.
Your Honor, I am uncertain as to some of the people there on iPhone, but we had requested that a Jose Perales be present. If that person is present, I would ask that he specifically be excused.
Okay, Mr. Perales, if you are here, you are excused as well, sir.
And I believe that is all Officer Waldrop had, Sergeant Waldrop had today, and I would ask that he be excused.
and that-
Officer Waldrop, you are excused. We're going to continue. We are now going to call the State of Texas versus Rafael Limon. Case number E019986. Are you present, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Cheek, is the state ready to continue?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Limon, are you ready to continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just to help me make sure I'm saying your name correctly, would you state your name for me, please?
Rafael Limon, Limon, Limon.
Okay, Limon. Okay, thank you. Would you read the charge, please?
Yes, Your Honor. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, on or about the 10th day of January 2021, Micah Stewart did have reason to believe that within the city of Andrews, Rafael Limon did violate the transportation code by traveling at an unsafe speed that was greater than was reasonable and prudent under circumstances then existing against the peace and dignity of the state.
Mr. Limon, do you understand the charge against you?
Yes,
At this time, how do you wish to plea?
not guilty.
Opening statement.
We waive opening, Your Honor.
Do you wish to call your first witness?
I do. I call Officer Stewart.
Officer Stewart, there you are. Would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
You may continue, Ms. Cheek.
Sir, please state your name.
Officer Micah Stewart
And how are you employed?
with the Andrews Police Department,
And how long have you been so employed?
3 years.
And are you a certified peace officer in this state?
I am.
What education or training did you undergo to become certified?
The PBLEA Academy and took the state qualifying test.
And were you employed with the City of Andrews Police Department on January, sorry, I'm switching screens here. on January 2nd of this year?
I was.
And were you on duty that day at approximately 9 p.m.?
Yes.
Where were you located?
I was in the 100 block of Northwest 13th.
And what were you doing?
Patrolling around.
And is that located within the city of Andrews?
It is.
Okay, and did a vehicle or a situation catch your attention?
Yes.
What did you notice?
I was coming up to the stop sign on West Broadway and 13th when I noticed 3 vehicles traveling at a high rate of speed, as it looked as though they were all 3 racing.
What type of vehicles were these?
There was a small 4-door car, a Jeep, and a truck.
And what did you do?
I attempted to catch up to the truck and the 4-door car, and the Jeep veered off down 115, and I was able to make a traffic stop on the 4-door car, but the truck kept driving.
So the 4-door car, did the driver of that vehicle pull over in a safe, timely, and appropriate fashion?
Yes.
And is that driver located on this Zoom meeting today?
Yes.
Could you describe him, please?
Male with a gray shirt, over jacket.
May the court please note that the witness has identified the defendant.
So noted.
Was that Rafael Limon?
Yes.
Was he cooperative with you?
Very.
Could you explain the reason for the stop?
I explained to him that it appeared as though they were all 3 racing and that it was unsafe because they were taking up all the lanes of traffic and there was traffic coming into town as well.
And do you recall if he made any statements to you regarding that alleged violation?
I do not.
Can you describe a little more for the court what it means that they appeared to be racing? What did you see or hear or observe that led you to that conclusion?
I heard engines revving when I was coming up to they weren't revving, but they were revving up as though they were speeding up to a high rate of speed. I could hear the muffler sounds.
And what led you to believe that all 3 of those vehicles were engaged in this behavior?
They were all trying to pass one another.
Were they all lined up together or kind of switching places?
The red 4-door car was in front with the truck and Jeep behind him, and the truck and Jeep were trying to catch up to him.
And for about what period of time and or what distance did you observe these vehicles?
It was about a 2 block before I intervened.
So what citations, if any, did you issue?
Unsafe speed.
And how many lanes of traffic are there in the direction that they were going?
2 lanes.
Okay. So when you said they took up all the lanes, that's kind of what you're describing, the 3 cars with the 2 lanes, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there other traffic in their same direction in front of and behind them?
There was traffic behind them. It was clear for about 5 blocks in front of them.
Okay. And what about traffic coming in the other direction?
There was traffic at the intersection of Mustang and 115 and Mustang and 176.
And this was 9 o'clock at night, so can we assume that it was dark?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Limon, do you have any questions of this witness?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Cheek?
Your Honor, I have no additional questions at this time, but I do reserve the right to recall and state rests.
At this time, the state has rested. Mr. Limon, at this time, it is your turn to present your case. You may take the stand and offer a statement, or you may call any witnesses at this time. What do you wish to do?
I have no witnesses. I was just me and my wife.
Okay. Do you wish to make a statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. You may continue.
Pretty much, I really think I was at the wrong place, wrong time. It was just me and my wife. We were coming from Odessa. We went to go eat. We're from Hobbs. I really think we were on West Broadway. We were heading home. We'd go through Eunice and to Hobbs. When I was driving, I was going speed limit. I did notice on my mirror, I seen the Jeep and the truck just, they're pretty close. It looked like they're coming pretty far, but they're getting closer and closer pretty fast. Like I said, that's why I really think I was just at the wrong time when, and I kind of, the officers did tell me, stop, either stop or, kind of drive to the side. But like I said, I really didn't have time to do anything. My wife was pregnant. I kind of stepped on it, hoping not to get hit in the back. But really, I wasn't trying to race. We're just driving. It was just me and my wife. We're trying to get home. I really think those two other vehicles were racing. I wasn't. Like the officer said, he heard mufflers. I mean, it's a little car. It's stock. It doesn't have no muffler. It doesn't really have anything to it. It's my wife's car, actually. And like I said, I really think I was just there at the wrong time. And I did stop, I did tell the officer what was going on. I'm hoping he did say the other vehicle, the Jeep, did stop. He was on Highway 115. And I'm hoping he kind of told the truth that the truck and the Jeep are racing. But really, I mean, I really think I was just at the wrong time. And my wife was pregnant, so of course I'm not gonna be doing that at the time. So pretty much that's all I gotta say.
Ms. Cheek, do you have any questions of this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, sir. Mr. Limon, so at this time, do you rest? Do you have
Yes.
Ms. Cheek, do you wish to close or rebuttal?
I just wish, I get not guilty and that's
Okay.
it.
Mr. Limon, I'm talking to Ms. Cheek at this moment. Ms. Cheek, is there anything you wish to say?
Your Honor, I wish to recall Officer Stewart.
Mr. Stewart,
Officer Stewart, after listening to the defendant's testimony, do you have anything that you would like to clarify or explain to the court about the situation?
The muffler that I heard was the truck. That's the muffler I heard to associate what I was hearing.
Okay. Does testimony change your belief also was involved in the racing that you observed?
The audio was in and out. I was unable to hear you.
Okay. Did you hear Mr. Limon's testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Does his testimony at all change your position on believing that he is responsible for the racing that you observed that day?
Yes, it does.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Limon, do you have any questions for Officer Stewart?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Cheek?
Rest and close, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have any closing arguments?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Limon, at this time, do you have any closing arguments?
No, ma'am. Well, pretty much all I gotta say is I'm hoping I get, I don't get this violation. I'm trying to get my CDL. I'm actually in a truck right now. We're working and pretty much I'm trying to clean my record, really. And pretty much that's it.
Mr. Limon, at this time, I find you not guilty of unsafe speed. At this time, this will not be reported. It will be go and you're excused.
Okay, thank you.
Officer Stewart, you are also excused unless you're here for another case.
Yeah.
The next case on trial is the State of Texas versus James M. Sorrells, case number E020124. Mr. Sorrells, are you here today?
Mr. Sorrells, I believe you're muted.
Is that working?
There you go.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
That's okay. So you are James Sorrells.
James Sorrells. Birthday's 10/22/1958.
Thank you, sir. Is the state ready to continue on this case?
We are, Your Honor.
Mr. Sorrells, are you ready to continue on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Cheek, if you will read the charge, please.
Yes, Your Honor. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, on or about the 30th day of November 2020, in the city of Andrews, Daryl Cunningham had reason to believe that James Sorrells violated the transportation code by speeding and traveling at a speed that was greater than was reasonable and prudent under circumstances then existing against the peace and dignity of the state.
Sir, do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you wish to plead to this charge?
I'm not an attorney and not really fluent with the court system, but I just like to explain my situation when it happened.
No, sir, at this point,
Not
I
guilty.
need a- Thank you. We'll go ahead and continue. Ms. Cheek, do you have an opening statement?
No, Your Honor, I waive opening.
Do you wish to call your first witness?
Yes, I'll call Sergeant Cunningham.
Officer Cunningham, Sergeant Cunningham, you were previously sworn in on another case. You understand that you are still being sworn in for this one?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sir. You may continue, Ms. Cheek.
Sir, please state your name
Daryl Cunningham.
and how are you employed?
I'm a sergeant with the Andrews Police Department.
How long have you been so employed?
I'm in my 13th year.
Are you a certified police officer in the state?
Yes, ma'am.
And what education or training did you undergo to become certified?
I attended the Odessa College Police Academy. Upon graduation, I took the state certifying exam.
And is this how you were employed on November 25th of 2020?
I'm showing that the date of citation was 11/30.
Yes, sir. All right, well, if you were employed that way on November 25th, were you also employed that way on November 30th?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you on duty that day at approximately 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Where were you located and what were you doing?
I was parked on the north side of the road in the 1400 block of Southwest Mustang. I was working a traffic enforcement assignment.
And did a vehicle catch your attention?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
Where was this vehicle in relation to you?
The vehicle was traveling westbound, so its original position was going to be to the rear of my vehicle, traveling towards the front.
And what about it caught your attention?
The vehicle appeared to be traveling at a higher rate of speed than what's posted for the limit,
And what is posted there?
35 miles an hour.
And making such visual observations of speed violations is part of your training, experience, and education. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you do to confirm that visual observation?
Once the vehicle passed me, I activated the front unit of my in-car radar.
And what did it indicate?
I showed the vehicle traveling at 54 miles an hour, and then when I locked the speed in, it had dropped to 53.
What did you do next?
I pulled into the roadway, caught up to the vehicle, turned on my emergency lights to effect a traffic stop.
And what sort of vehicle is this that we're discussing?
It's a white semi-truck.
And did the driver of that vehicle pull over in a safe and appropriate and timely fashion?
It took me a little bit to gain the driver's attention. I had to follow it quite a ways and activate my siren. It's not unusual for semis they have a hard time seeing that close behind them. So that's not an unusual thing to happen. I would say also, once I began following the vehicle, it made a right turn to continue on Southwest Mustang, at which point when I was trying to stop it, I was pacing the vehicle at 47 miles an hour, which is still a 35 mile an hour speed limit.
And did you make contact with the driver?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that person cooperative with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you see him present in the Zoom hearing today?
Yes, ma'am.
Identify him, please.
It's going to be Mr. Sorrells. I believe he's wearing a flannel red and black jacket.
May the court please note the witness has identified the defendant.
So noted.
Do you recall if he made any statements to you regarding the alleged violation?
We discussed it, but I honestly don't recall the details of the conversation.
And what citations, if any, did you issue?
He was issued a citation for speeding. I reduced that down to 45 and a 35. And then he was also issued a warning for violation of the truck route ordinance. But I believe that had to do with kind of our conversation. I just don't remember the details.
Witness.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you, Ms. Chief.
I'll pass the witness.
At this time, Ms. Sorrells, you do have a right to ask questions of this officer. Did you wish to ask any?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Do you remember what the first question was that you asked me when you pulled me over?
No, sir. I honestly don't remember the details of our conversation.
Do you remember the question regarding what you were going to do as far as the citation and your response to that?
I do not remember the details of our conversation.
Well, we spoke and you said you were going to give me a ticket. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this now or I need to wait till later because it's more of a.
At this time, sir, you're just asking questions.
Okay. That's all I have for now. If you don't remember.
Your Honor, I have no further questions of this witness at this time and reserve the right to recall and
Ms. Sorrells, at this time, the state has rested. So it is now your turn to present your case. You may make a statement. Understand it cannot be held against you should you decide not to, or you may call it witnesses that you may have. At this time, do you wish to make a statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Go ahead and state your name and then give us your statement, please.
My name is James Sorrells. In question to the ticket, the way it was printed out, it's got my vehicle registered as a state, as Texas, and the trailer as a non-commercial Texas, which is the tractor, the truck is Indiana, and the trailer is Oklahoma, which that information is not correct. I don't know if it pertains or has any bearing on it, but I was not legally in that tractor or that trailer licensed to the state of Texas. And then the question with the citation, I agree with the violation. The officer explained to me that he was going to give me a violation citation for speeding, and he was being graceful about it. I'm not complaining, but it's going to hinder my license and the new point system that the federal government has. And then the warning, he said he wasn't going to give me a ticket for that. And I explained to him, as soon as he walked up, he asked how I was doing. I said I was lost and confused. And at that point in time, I was looking for a place to pull over with the big truck, long trailer, 73 feet plus. I was having some problems and some issues trying to figure out to negotiate where to park and figure out and get my bearing as to where and what route not to take versus what to take. And my Garmin was telling me it was a truck route. I have a truck Garmin that guides me, and I was following it. And Mustang was a truck route. And to go forward on 385, I think it was, going to Seagrave was a truck route, but the signs were very undiscreet when you come up to the sign to take the loop around town. Long story short, there was a little black arrow, maybe 6 inches long, 8 inches long, up on the it said, all it said was truck with a black arrow going left. So I went left. And then that's when my mishap occurred. I turned on Mustang. I seen there where there was a pilot fueling station on up. So I was going to go there and pull in and ask for directions. But I got pulled over before I got there. And I run Odessa and Grand Prairie between Fort Worth and Dallas. That's kind of where I go. And the third time I went through your town, I called the police station. He told me to take a right at that intersection and take the loop 910 around. So now that I know the route, it's not a problem. But the route's not, for being a truck driver and the way the truck route is marked, it's not clear to me. And that's what caused my mishap. So I'm just trying to explain myself. Even though the warning is on the ticket, it will go against me and it will hinder me. And same with the speeding. I was lost, confused. I was trying to ask the officer for some grace, and I wasn't trying to be objective. I was just trying to be honest and straight up. And I've got a lot of hardship that I've been dealing with. And that's all.
Chief, do you have any questions?
Mr. Sorrells, do I understand that you're not contesting the officer's testimony that you were speeding? You're just asking for some leniency here and some understanding?
Well, I spoke with the officer in not Austin, but the north of you there, that town. What is it? The big city up there.
Lubbock? Seminole?
No,
Not
no.
Seminole.
I talked to a sergeant, a DOT officer, and he explained to me as a municipal court, a municipal officer, he had the right to pull me over. So everything's legit, but it can be referred as to a seatbelt violation or something else because there's no DOT forms or DOT involvement. That's what he explained to me. Amarillo was the office I called and got that information. And I contacted a couple of attorneys to represent me. 2 of them weren't comfortable with the Zoom and the large amount of money involved right now. I don't have it. I don't have $600 to retain an attorney. I'm a working guy, live check to check. The government's taken all our incentives, all our tax breaks away. I owe $18,000 in back taxes right now because of it. And I had to take a 12-year-old in, or she was going into foster care because her mother, I'm sorry. I'm okay, I'm done.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Sorrells, at this time, do you wish to rest and close? Do you have any more other?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Cheek,
Your Honor, I rest in close.
closing arguments. Mr. Sorrows, do you have a closing argument?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Sorrows, I'm going to go ahead and find you not guilty. This will not be reported on your license, and at this time you are free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
If there's any other, I don't, at this time you can be released, Mr. Sergeant Cunningham, but this case is closed at this time.
Thank you for understanding, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. I am showing another case on the docket, the state of Texas versus Misael Padilla Cardenas, case number E020271.
State is present and ready, Your Honor.
Officer Escobar, would you go into the hall and call Misael Cardenas?
Your Honor, may I inquire what happened to Manuel Guerrero? I think I remember seeing an email, but I didn't make a note.
Daniel Guerrero, I show as a pretrial hearing. He hired an attorney, so we have
That's
a
it.
pretrial hearing at 1:30 for him.
That's the one okay, thank you.
Your Honor,
Go ahead.
the first case appeared and they're in the chamber, Garcia, just to let the court know.
Officer Escobar, were you able to call Misael Cardenas? I'm not sure why we're not hearing you. You may need to speak into one of those speakers that's there on the desk.
Can you hear me, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
I did call Misael, no answer, Your Honor.
And there was no response?
Yes, ma'am. No response.
Ms. Cheek, do you wish to make any motions?
Yes, Your Honor, I asked the court. First, let me inquire, was there service on Mr. Cardenas?
You'll need to unmute yourself, Mary.
I did not receive a confirmation from that defendant.
Okay.
Your Honor, since I believe this was our first setting with this individual, I would just ask that it be set to the next docket. Just give them one more opportunity.
Okay, well, you can do that. Now, I believe, Ms. Chief, that Garcia is now in the courtroom, but all our witnesses have been called, and as well as this case was called, and she was not present at the time of the case.
Your Honor, I'll be submitting motions to dismiss on those cases now that she's appeared.
Okay, all right then. So
And I have no objection to either the court or Ms. Escobedo communicating that to her outside my presence in Spanish.
Okay, thank you so much. So that appears to be all of our cases for this morning's session. At this, court is now adjourned and y'all are free to go. Ms. Cheek, we do need to visit with you for just a moment. So Sergeant, can you go, please?
Okay. Cassandra, can I ask you, or Judge, I was showing a cause for Manuel Guerrero. Has that been continued, or just so I can keep my paperwork?
That was the one I just inquired of the court. He hired an attorney and requested a jury trial. We're going to have a pre-trial at 1:30, and then it'll be on the over jury list.
Okay, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's for Bernardo Olivas.
That one, I'm sorry, I didn't let you know. His attorney contacted me and he's accepted a plea offer.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Ms. Cheek, we just wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about, let me go ahead